Good morning, Alex and friends. I'm Grace. Today is Tuesday, January 14th, 2025, and you're listening to Alex's News. The weather in Riverside will reach a mild high of 66.5 degrees today, with temperatures dropping to a cool 44.4 degrees. Coming up, we'll examine the latest developments in potential peace negotiations between Hamas and Israel, and what factors are contributing to possible breakthrough discussions. We'll also look at the challenges firefighters are facing as they combat California's most lethal wildfire season in recent history. Plus, we'll explore the significant legal battle between the New York Times and OpenAI, and how this lawsuit could fundamentally change the landscape of artificial intelligence development and regulation. All this and more ahead on Alex's News. Our top story this morning, a potential breakthrough in the ongoing Hamas-Israel conflict. We're joined by our international correspondent Ethan Parker with the details. Ethan, what can you tell us about this developing situation?
Thanks, Grace. According to CNN and CBS News, we're seeing what could be a significant turning point in the conflict, with U.S. officials expressing optimism about a three-phase ceasefire agreement that's currently being negotiated in Doha, Qatar.
Can you break down what these three phases would entail?
The first phase is particularly significant, Grace. It calls for a 42-day ceasefire and the release of 33 Israeli hostages, specifically women, children, and those over 50 years old. In exchange, Israel would release Palestinian prisoners at a ratio of 30-1.
And what about the remaining phases, Ethan?
The second phase would focus on releasing the remaining male Israeli hostages and include an IDF withdrawal from Gaza. The third phase is perhaps the most comprehensive, involving the exchange of deceased hostages' remains, plans for Gaza's reconstruction, and the opening of borders.
I understand there's some urgency regarding the timing of this deal?
Yes, that's right, Grace. The Biden administration is pushing to secure this agreement before the end of the president's term, which is just 6 days away. Interestingly, President-elect Trump's incoming special envoy, Steve Witkoff, is already involved in these negotiations.
What are the main obstacles to reaching this agreement?
Several significant challenges remain. Hamas is demanding Israel's withdrawal from the Philadelphia corridor, and there's opposition from Israel's far-right officials, including Finance Minister Bezalel Smotrich and 10 Likud party members. There are also ongoing disagreements about the width of a proposed buffer zone inside Gaza.
Can you put this in perspective for us in terms of the human cost of this conflict?
The numbers are devastating, Grace. According to the latest figures, there have been 46,584 Palestinian deaths and 109,731 injuries in Gaza since October 7, 2023. Of the 251 hostages originally taken by Hamas, 94 remain in Gaza, with 34 confirmed dead.
Thank you for that comprehensive update, Ethan. We'll continue to follow this developing story throughout the morning. We continue our coverage of the devastating wildfires in Southern California. Joining us now with the latest updates is our reporter Chloe Martinez. Chloe, what's the current situation with these fires?
Grace, the situation remains critical across Los Angeles and Ventura counties. According to the National Weather Service, we're experiencing what they're calling extreme fire danger conditions. The largest blaze, the Palisades Fire, has now burned 23,713 acres and is only 14% contained. The Eaton Fire has consumed over 14,000 acres and stands at 33% containment.
Those are massive fires. What about the casualties and damage we're seeing?
The numbers are devastating, Grace. According to CBS News reporting, we're looking at 24 confirmed deaths, 16 from the Eaton Fire and 8 from the Palisades Fire. Over 12,000 structures have been destroyed, and as reported by the Associated Press, there are still 49 people reported missing across LA County and the city, though 17 have been found safe. Early damage estimates, according to NPR, suggest losses could exceed $250 billion.
Can you tell us about the evacuation situation?
Right now, approximately 92,000 people are under mandatory evacuation orders, with another 89,000 under evacuation warnings. A curfew is in place from 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. in all evacuation zones. The National Guard has been deployed to prevent looting, And ABC News reports that the LA County District Attorney has issued warnings about price gouging.
What about the weather forecast? Are conditions expected to improve?
Unfortunately not, Grace. The National Weather Service is predicting conditions to worsen, with winds intensifying from early tomorrow through midday Wednesday. That's about 36 hours from now. Wind gusts could reach up to 65 miles per hour, which would ground firefighting aircraft. These strong winds, combined with low humidity and dry fuel conditions, are creating a perfect storm for fire spread.
And what about the cause of these fires? Is there any information on that?
According to multiple sources, authorities are investigating whether Southern California Edison's equipment may have sparked some of these fires. In fact, a lawsuit has already been filed claiming the utility's equipment started the Eaton fire, though these investigations are still ongoing.
Thank you for that comprehensive update, Chloe. We'll be sure to check back with you as this situation develops. Here are some other headlines. NATO has launched Baltic Sentry, a new mission to protect undersea cables in the Baltic Sea region. The initiative, announced by Secretary General Mark Rutte, will deploy frigates, maritime patrol aircraft, and naval drones to enhance surveillance and deterrence against potential Russian threats. In Canadian politics, former Bank of England Governor Mark Carney has strongly hinted at running for Prime Minister. During an interview with Jon Stewart, Carney discussed Canada's economic challenges and criticized current opposition leader Pierre Poilievre as the country faces potential U.S. tariffs and political instability. Newly declassified MI5 files reveal Queen Elizabeth II was never informed about Soviet spy Anthony Blunt working in Buckingham Palace. Blunt, who served as the surveyor of the Queen's pictures, confessed in 1964 to passing secrets to the KGB during World War II, but was allowed to keep his position and knighthood. Princeton researchers have challenged the reported surge in America's multiracial population from the 2020 census. The apparent increase from 2.9% to 10.2% was largely due to changes in methodology rather than actual demographic shifts, according to their study. And in the Netherlands, an archive containing names of 425,000 suspected Nazi collaborators has been made public, causing widespread social impact as Dutch citizens discover unexpected details about their family histories. The release has prompted intense public interest, with archive reading rooms booked months in advance. And now for our third story of the morning. A major legal battle continues to unfold in the tech world, as one of America's most prominent newspapers takes on artificial intelligence. With us now is our tech correspondent, Ethan Parker. Ethan, bring us up to speed on this lawsuit between the New York Times and OpenAI.
Thanks, Grace. This is a landmark case that could reshape how AI companies use news content. The New York Times, along with the New York Daily News and the Center for Investigative Reporting, filed a federal lawsuit against OpenAI and Microsoft last year, claiming massive copyright infringement in the development of ChatGPT.
What specifically are they alleging OpenAI did wrong?
According to court documents, the Times claims OpenAI used millions of their articles without permission or compensation to train ChatGPT. What's particularly concerning for the newspaper, Grace, is that they've found instances where ChatGPT can reproduce their articles almost word for word, and even create fake articles that appear to be from the Times.
That's quite serious. How are OpenAI and Microsoft responding to these allegations?
They're mounting their defense primarily on what's called the fair use doctrine, arguing that their use of the content is transformative and creates new meaning. But here's what's interesting. While this legal battle continues, many other major news organizations have actually struck deals with OpenAI. According to industry reports, News Corp secured a $250 million 5-year agreement, and companies like Associated Press, Time Magazine, and several others have established their own licensing arrangements.
What's at stake here, Ethan?
The stakes are enormous, Grace. The Times is seeking billions in damages, with potential penalties of up to $150,000 per infringement. But perhaps more significantly, if the Times wins, OpenAI might have to destroy its current dataset and rebuild its AI models without the Times content. The case has already reached a crucial phase where the Times lawyers have been granted permission to examine ChatGPT's source code and training data under strict security protocols.
And when can we expect a resolution?
That's still unclear, Grace. The case is ongoing, with a hearing scheduled to determine whether OpenAI's motion to dismiss certain claims will be granted. Whatever the outcome, this case could set major precedents for how AI companies use copyrighted material in the future.
Thank you for that comprehensive update, Ethan. We'll certainly keep following this story as it develops. That's all we have for now. Today's episode was made by Alexander King with Claude Sonnet 3.5, the Perplexity API, and the Google Cloud Text-to-Speech API. I hope you have a great day. I'll see you tomorrow, Alex.